One of the most important conversations that you'll ever have as a business owner is the one you have with your audience about what it is that you do. I have seen this question plague business owners across the board, trying to find the perfect way to describe this so that it lands with the exact person that they want to bring into their business, speaks to that ideal client, and gives them the crystal clear clarity that they need to make the decision to come into their business and become a client. And the reason that it's so challenging for so many business owners is because when you're trying to extract your own message, you are emotionally attached to it, especially if you're providing a service where there's a variety of solutions that you provide. This feeling of needing to pick one solution and put yourself into a box when there's so much more that you do feels very constrictive, and it feels limiting. And it also feels like by doing that you're going to prevent certain clients from coming into your world that could be a part of your business. And so we have to fight this urgency to be the solution to all things versus being the solution to this primary focal point. Understanding that if I can just laser focus on one entry point into my world, bring people in through that entry point, then I can show them all the different things that I can do. But if I try to be the jack of all trades and the master of none, then that's the exact experience that's being communicated, and people aren't looking for that. They're looking for the specific solution to their perceived problem, not somebody that can handle all the different things. They want a solution to be provided, and they want it to be provided well. And so when we're creating the conversation that we have with our audience through our marketing, through our message, we need to make sure that these things are clearly defined. And I want to give you a couple examples of what this looks like and how this shows up. I was having a conversation with a business owner earlier, and we were working on her lead magnet ideas, different ways to bring people into her world. And as she was describing to me some of the problems that she solves for her clients, she was giving me a lot of emotional descriptions. One person she was working with was a business owner that was feeling very frustrated and overwhelmed in her business. So I asked her, I'm like, well, tell me what the problem was. And it was all emotional descriptions. She was feeling very frustrated. She was burnt out. She ended up just checking out of her business for a little while. Everything was just running at the most minimum of standards, and she was questioning whether she should be doing this anymore. I'm like, okay, so yeah, there's an emotional experience that she's having, but there's a specific problem that is happening that's creating this emotional experience. And so we need to define what that problem is. And so my responsibility in a conversation like that is to ask clarifying questions because I'm not emotionally attached to the outcome. So I can get right to it because I don't have all of these other things that are filtering my thought process, or I should say clouding my thought process and not allowing me to filter through to the focus point. And so I asked her, I'm like, well, what specifically was happening that was causing her to feel burned out? And she said, well, she was just doing all the things in her business and it was just got to be too much. I said, okay, well, what are all the things? What specifically is she doing? And she tells me, well, she was following a business model that she paid somebody to teach her, and she was doing everything that was on the list for her to do, and it wasn't creating the results that was promised by following it. And I said, oh, okay. So now we have some clarity on what the problem is. She's following a strategy exactly as it's laid out. She paid a lot of money for this strategy and it didn't work. And it's not working. And so now there's a frustration and there's a fear that's happening there. And so what is it that she's wanting? Well, she's wanting a business strategy that works, but not only works, but something that she feels excited to go out there and implement, something that feels like it's hers. And so this is something that she does is she helps these business owners when they are burned out trying to follow a strategy that's not actually a fit for them. She helps them create the business model that makes the most sense for their business that they feel excited to go out there and implement. And the change in energy there of just doing what you're told to do versus feeling inspired to go out and do the thing you want to do is what starts to create the results for them on the other side. Another conversation I had was with a woman that works with other women in their relationships where they're feeling disconnected from their husbands. And same scenario. I'm like, tell me the problem that you solve. And she's like, well, I saw it's communication breakdowns. I'm like, what does that mean? And she's like, well, they're not communicating. And so they're feeling disconnected from their husbands. They're feeling unseen. They're feeling unsupported. It's like, okay, so these are a lot of feelings, but what is happening that's creating these feelings of being unseen and unsupported? Can you give me a specific example? And so she kind of sat with it for a minute and she started to provide some of these examples. And some of them were, she asks for them to do something around the house, and the husband says that he'll do it. And then a week later, she comes around the check and it's not done. I said, okay, what else? She said that every night after dinner, he just sits on the couch and scrolls his phone for 2 hours and they don't talk at all. I said, okay, what else? They go on a date night and she gets excited for it, and then by the time they get home, she's disappointed because it just didn't meet the expectation that she was hoping for. I said, okay, now we have some messaging, some marketing where we can speak to the specific scenarios that they are experiencing inside of their relationship. And now we can create marketing messages around that. Now, how to get your husband to help out around the house without you having to ask him for it. And I said that one, and her face lit up. She's like, yeah, that's what every woman's wanting. Or we can look at the phone thing, and it's, how to get your husband to sit and talk with you after dinner for a couple hours instead of picking up his phone and scrolling. Okay, now we're speaking to a specific scenario. Yes, they're feeling all of these things. They're feeling the disconnection. They're feeling the hopelessness. They're feeling the frustration, but they're feeling that in these moments. And so we want our messaging to speak to the moments that are occurring that are creating the emotional response. And when we do that, now we are entering the conversation in their head because they're fixated on that problem. They're aware that they're feeling these things, but the thought that they're thinking is, if he picks up that phone when we get out, when we finish dinner one more time, I'm going to lose it. And inside, they're feeling hurt and they're feeling unseen and they're feeling frustrated. But we need to speak to the part they're focusing on, which is the thoughts that's in their head. And that's where the clarity in our messaging needs to be. We need to be able to clearly define that. Now, this I could go on and on with the different ways that people struggle with their messaging. And I'll leave you with this point. I think it's near impossible for most of us to extract our own messaging on our own because we are so emotionally attached to the different ways in which we want it to be and the different ways that we want it to feel. And so we need somebody in our life that can ask us those clarifying questions so that we can get clear on that messaging. Because then when we get clear on the messaging, then we can bring clients into our world. And when we bring clients into our world, then we get to have an enrollment conversation, right? We get to start to build that initial relationship where whether that's happening in the DMs or we bring somebody onto a call, we're going to start cultivating that relationship. And that's the next phase of communication, right? It's our messaging it's got to bring people into our world. And then the way that we converse with our people is how we start to build trust and how we start to build authority and how we start to build the expectation with them that we can help them solve their problems, trusting that we can. And then we get them into our world, and now we have a whole different type of conversation where we're getting to understand who they are, how they operate, what has led them to the current challenges that they're trying to navigate, and how do we apply our specific solution to those challenges to help them get the result that they're after. And I just want to keep in mind that this can apply to a variety of service-based businesses. It doesn't matter if you are a hairstylist that's working with somebody's hair, if you are a physical therapist that's trying to heal somebody's body, if you are some form of coach that's helping somebody perform better in a certain aspect of their life. When we can build a relationship that people can trust, when they feel seen, heard, and understood by us, then they will buy into the solution to the degree that we have certainty in our solution. And when we can have that perfect blend happening, this is how we create consistent results for the people that work with us. And this is also how we get people to stay in our world for a long period of time. Because we devote just as much energy into becoming the expert at what we do as we do in building the relationship with the people that we solve those problems for. And when you become the best at your craft, simultaneously with becoming the best at creating relationships that your clients enjoy, why would they go anywhere else? You're the best possible solution. And when you can position yourself that way, this is when business starts to get really exciting. Because now you have relationships with people that are in your world for a long time. And as human beings, we thrive on relationship. You have predictability and longevity in your business because you're providing such a high level of service for people, they don't want to go anywhere else. And they want to tell other people about you and help you grow your business and bring other people into your world because you've helped them flourish in whatever area of life that you specialize in. And they want to return that favor by helping your business flourish too. And all of this falls under the umbrella of communication, of high stakes conversations on how we navigate this with the people in our lives. And if this is a skill set that you feel is needing to be developed further in your life. Like you really want to have mastery around this. You want to have that confidence and that certainty to deliver a clear message that whenever you put it out there, people respond to it because you're speaking directly to the problem and solution that is happening in their mind right now. It's like every piece of marketing material that you put out there is creating engagement and is creating conversion. And then you want to have confidence in your ability to navigate the conversations that enroll them into a client. So that if you are on a sales call, for example, or doing a consultation, you know how to read your client. You know how to make them feel connected, to feel understood in that conversation, to get them to share what's really going on so that you can present your solution and do that in a way where it's not a scripted response, but a response that meets them where they're at. Because you're so clear on how you solve people's problems, you know how to weave your solution into their problem when they share it. And you do it from a place of integrity. You don't just get people to say yes just to get them to say yes. You sit there and you listen and you understand what's going on. And before you ever give them the opportunity to work with you, you ask that question, can I help them solve this problem? And am I the best solution for them? And if so, that's when you move forward. Because when they can feel that integrity from you, that also builds trust. And if you want to know how to establish relationships with your clients in a way where they feel so much trust in your ability to help guide them to the solutions that they are investing in you for, if you want to know how to do that in a way where they don't want to leave because they know you're the best possible solution, where they want to give you referrals and share their experience with other people because of how much that you've helped them. That is the area that I specialize in, is teaching you how to master this craft of communication, how to choose the right thing to say in every single moment so that you can create the best possible outcome on the other side, whether that's in your marketing to get more people into your world, whether that's in your sales conversations to bring more clients into your business, whether that's in the communication that you have with your clients to make sure that they stay on for a long time so that you can actually reach them in the way that you need to reach them so that you can create the solution. Because if they don't trust you, they're not going to share with you the necessary things that you need to know to do what you do. And so you got to be able to establish that. And when it comes time to build team in your business, how to build a team where they are bought into your leadership, where they trust you as a leader because you're so clear on the mission and you're so clear in the culture that they know exactly what's expected of them and they're bought into it and they love it because they believe in it and that you have the ability to navigate all the different personalities that are going to be happening on your team all of the time because working with people is constant people problems, right? And so we got to know how to navigate those without getting triggered by it and upset by it. Because that's the underlying thing here with communication is can I have all this communication skillfully while also staying calm in my body? Can I not let the natural problems that are going to show up with relationships, with business, and everything that these things include? Can I stay grounded? Can I keep myself regulated as I'm doing it? and not let it stress me out for days or weeks or months, not put me in a position where I'm losing sleep. It's can I pull back from the reactivity of the money and the people and taking things personal and all these other things that happen and just observe. Just observe what's going on and be completely non-reactive to all of it because you have so much trust in yourself that no matter what happens, no matter what problem shows up, you will figure it out. You either have the direct solution within you or you will go out and find it. And when you have that kind of certainty in yourself, that is what enables us to maneuver all of the challenges that business and relationship bring into our world. And that's the other conversation that continuously needs to be had within your own experience is the one with yourself. And how skillful is that conversation? The one that you have with you to make sure that you are always in the right place up here and in here, leading from that place skillfully. This is what I specialize in. This is the experience and the craft that I help business owners master. And if you want to have a conversation with me around what that would look like, and keep in mind that this is not a traditional type of experience. Working with me is a high touch, all inclusive experience. We communicate almost every single day. You and I are going to co create every strategy and solution together. I'm going to hold you accountable to go out there and execute these things. We're going to role play things. I'm going to walk you through the most unorthodox type of practices that you've ever experienced. I'm going to constantly push you at your edge, but also make sure I never push you too far. And it's going to be the most thrilling and frustrating and expansive and contracting experience that you've ever had because that's what real growth is. It's pushing you, but not pushing you too far, but holding you to that fire consistently while teaching you the ability to be with that fire, to teach you the skills to move forward, the capacity, the competency, all of it to make sure you are equipped for everything that you are calling in your business, your life, and your relationships. And if you're ready for that kind of experience, then check the notes below. There's a link to hop on and have a conversation with me. And let's see where that conversation leads. Because this is what I specialize in. And if you're really ready to develop the mastery that's going to take you to the not the next level, but all the levels beyond, that's what you and I will co-create together. So click that link, follow the flow, and let's see where it goes.